So tzar ba'alei chayim, which is the prohibition of causing harm to animals. I cannot take a cat, God forbid, and just like push it out a window, even though it's going to probably fall on its feet. God forbid. Can't kick a dog. On purpose, sometimes you step on a tail. That's terrible. But you're not allowed to cause harm to an animal. Okay, it's called tzar ba'alei chayim, and just like Malka just mentioned, that's why in the halachot of shechita there are 5. There's what's called shia, drasha, nikah, grama, and ikur. The 5 things that you're not allowed to do when you shecht. I learned shechita. I mean, not just the halachot. I learned how to shecht many years ago. I never finished. Never got Kabbalah in it, but it was an amazing experience. So the halachot are there to protect the life of the animal so that it has the least amount of pain when it's killed. Even if it has a little teeny nick in the knife, you're supposed to check your knife after X amount of shchitot. Yes. If it has a teeny little nick, even though that technically won't do anything really painful in quotes, but because it'll maybe snag for a microsecond on the animal's neck, you can't use that. You have to sharpen that knife. And if you find it after you shafted an animal, that animal's not kosher. All kinds of halachot. So how does this affect us halachically about this animal kingdom stuff? Let's say, mishum she'en kan din tzar ba'alei chayim. Let's say it's Shabbat, and an animal's in distress. Okay, so if there's something that's asur because of muktzah that you could do to save the animal, you can do it. You could say, let's say there's something muktzah that you shouldn't move on Shabbat. Remember, muktzah is not something you can't touch; it's something you're allowed to move on Shabbat. That if you move it, it will help save the animal, or at least make sure it's not in pain. You're allowed to do it. Example: something that's muktzah fell on the cat's tail. God forbid, the cat can't get out. You have a chiyuv to remove that from the tail of the animal, because even though it's muktzah, there's tzar ba'alei chayim. But what if you see what do cats eat? Mice? I don't know. A cat chasing after a mouse. You, that poor little mouse is in trouble. You can't do something to save that mouse. Tzar ba'alei chayim is going to eat it. No, that's how Hashem set the world to go. The cats eat the mice. There's not tzar ba'alei chayim there. I mean, it's poor little mouse, but as long as he's not in my house, then he's dead meat. No matter what, Shabbos, Yom Tov, Yom Kippur, I'm coming after you. Well, maybe not Yom Kippur. Okay. Okay. He makes a mention here about the Noda Yehuda, who mentioned Paskin. He said, I don't know about you, but I personally do not know a single Jew, religious Jew, who's a hunter. It's not in the Jewish way to hunt. We talk about fishing. Fishing, what's called catch and release, is fine, generally speaking. I actually looked into this for somebody. But hunt for sport, like to kill an elk, to kill a deer, just to cut its head off and mount it on the... Gross. Okay, that's not the Jewish way. We kill for animal to eat, right? That's...
To put the horns
on that, yeah. It's horrible. Look, I can understand why someone is to be a vegetarian. I can understand it. Yeah. Okay? Fully get it. I toyed with the idea once for 2 weeks, a couple of years ago. I mentioned it to my kids. They were horrified. They were horrified. What? You love meat? Yeah, I know, but maybe it's the right thing. Okay. What happens in Mimota Mashiach? Who knows? According to one opinion, I think it's I don't remember. We'll be vegetarians. What about korbanot? I don't know. It's a question. We'll have to wait. We'll see tomorrow, Bezrat Hashem. I'm busy today. We'll see tomorrow what happens when Mashiach comes. So let's continue in the text. Excuse me. It says, a person who comes to that point. By the way, it doesn't mean a person's going to be a tzaddik and a super pious person and super Eved Hashem. Even the average person can come to this conclusion and realize that just looking at the animal world, you can understand. The Mishlei says, Lech el nemala v'chakem. It's not in your text here. Go to the ant, A-N-T, and become wise. Why? What are the ants going to teach me? Watch the animal world, the ant kingdom. There's the leader, right? And how they build their little mountains, their little ant hills. They made a mountain out of an ant hill there. Make their little ant hills. And how they, if you ever watch like a crumb, how they share the burden literally to move it along. It's unbelievable. So Mishlei, so Shlomo HaMelech says in Mishlei, Lechel nimala v'chakem. We can learn from the animal world. So once we have this ability to understand that everything, how the animal works and how one chases and one eats and one has this ability and one has that, we're much more calm. Kol Kol asher timtza'eu tzara omer gam zu latova. This is something we're going to have to talk about. Okay, there's a man whose name was Nachum Ish Gamzu. I sent you a little link, or no, I sent you a text of what he said. This is a story in the Gemara. You can look at it in your own time. I'll tell you the story though. Man whose name was, some say he was Nachum Hamadi, the Median, Medean. Nachum the Mede, not Median, I think Mede. Who is mentioned, for example, in by Memadikin. Nachum, he was called Nachum Ish Gamzu, the man who said also this. Gamzu Latova comes exactly from this. Yes. What happened was that he was given gems to take to the king. I remember the reason behind it. It was a whole story involved. And he stayed overnight at an inn, and the people in the inn stole the gems, and they put some dirt in the little sack. He comes to the king, not knowing that there's dirt instead of gems in there. He opens it up, and the king's ready to say, I'm going to kill all the Jews, because you're here just to make fun of me. Says, no. This is special earth. It's going to be like Avram Avinu. He used to throw it in the air, it would turn into swords, and it would automatically kill his enemies. And there happened to be one particular enemy that this king is trying to just vanquish and could never do. And he took the dirt, he threw it in the air, it became daggers or whatever it was, and it vanquished his enemy, and he rewarded this man with all kinds of jewels. He came back to the inn, and the people in the inn said, what happened? We thought you'd basically be killed, because he says, no, you thought you were tricking me, and look what happened. Gamzu Latova, this is also for the good. The guys in the inn said, this is great. We're going to take sacks full of dirt, we're going to bring it to the king, and tell him the same thing, and we're going to get rich. They bring it to them, they says, what are you doing? You're making fun of me. He threw the dirt up in the air, it was just dirt, and he killed all these people. Nachum Ish Gamzu, and there's a whole list of other stories that over there, that everything that happened, the response was, Gamzu Latova. It's a way to live. It's an approach in life that no matter what happens, even it looks like it's the worst thing. And I've mentioned as an example a few times where I have, just yesterday, I have a friend whose son died of cancer, 20 years old. 20 years old. And one of my best friends in the world, his son was killed out 12, 13 years ago in a car accident, head-on collision, instantly killed. How can I look at that and say that's Gamzu Latova? I can't, right? But I have to. There's some good that has, and in fact I know that there's been a lot of good that came out of this tragic death of his. I'm talking about my friend's son many years ago. Whether it's Batei Midrash that were started in Sfarim and were written in Sifrei Torah, that's just out of tragedy. And look at something like Kobe Mandel, Hashem Yikom Damo, what happened as a result, Camp Kobe and comedy for Kobe. Just so much good that the Mandel family has done out of a tragedy. The three boys, all the Unity Prize, just so much. Would they have rather had their son? Obviously. But for some reason, this child was a catalyst, like the 3-year-old or 4-year-old, 3-day-old or 4-day-old Amiyad Yisrael, or whatever, I forgot his middle name, Yisrael. I mean, that my people live forever. What did he do? How he brought this little child, who brought Am Yisrael together. That was this tafkid of this child. Someone had a brilliant, I think it was a sister or brother, one of the people in the accident, in the Pigua, had an amazing insight. He said that this child, I don't know if you read, was brought to the parents shortly before he died. They were able to give him a kiss. And it said that this child lived to do one act of Kibbud Avayim. Look at that. And then he died. Unbelievable. He's ma'ached the people. He brought the people together. And at that last moment of his life, he did Kibbud Avayim. Unbelievable. Said that, can we look at that and say Gamzu Latova? That's hard. If you miss a bus, it's easy to say Gamzu Latova, right? If you failed a test, or you did something wrong, or you forgot to do something, Gamzu Latova. But when it comes to the big things, that's really, really tough. It's really tough. When we get to that point, though, you take a look at the next line. Kol asher timtza'eu tzara omer, every single thing that happens for the negative, that happens bad, if a person is able to say Gamzu Latova, v'yichyeh chayim arevim tamid, he'll live, I want to use my word now. Here's like a peaceful life. A peaceful life. And the things that appear bad will be lighter and easier for him. It's even possible if something bad happens to the individual, they may rejoice over it. Why? Now, I'm not 100%, I'm not a big fan of this concept he's about to say, I'll be honest. But it is an approach in philosophy, in Judaism's philosophy, not mine. The person would feel that they think about all the averos they've done, kamishi yifrachovo, that Hashem comes after him in a certain way, gives him whatever tsaros he has in their lives, that he's there to collect his debt of what he did wrong. Usameach, and he'll be happy about the bad thing that happened to him. He only gave him this kind. He gave him a patch instead of really going after him too much. And then he'll be happy with the reward that's now going to be awaiting him. What's he saying? There is an approach. And people have asked me about this, and again, I say personally, I'm not a fan of this approach. This is his. That if something happens to me, let's say, I don't want to say I give myself an einhar. Let's say an individual falls down, God forbid, breaks their arm. Okay? You say, ay, kapara, right? Yeah, it should be a kapara. But there's an approach that says that there's something you did wrong, that person did wrong, and that was their onesh. That was their punishment. Now for the next X amount of weeks, they're going to have trouble with their arm, they have physical therapy, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And they should say, you know what, this is great. This is my kapara for all the things I did in my life, and this is the thing that happens to me. Baruch Hashem. Now now I can have some good things that are going to come my way. That's an approach. Some have the extreme where they say, "What did I do wrong to deserve this?" Okay, I don't necessarily like that approach. Okay, we aren't in that business. We're in the business of doing what we have to do. Whatever Hashem does, we can't understand. Even if I want to make a connection, I'm in the middle. If I'm saying something lashon hara, all of a sudden I bite my tongue, literally, and bite my tongue. Oh, see, this is what happens when you talk lashon hara. Okay, I can make that connection because it's pretty obvious. Maybe that's not why I bit my tongue. Maybe just because I'm talking too fast. Okay. V'yismach b'mashehu melamed livnei adam me'asevel v'hatzedakat hadin haborei. Not only that, but he also will rejoice in the fact that he will be able to infuse this idea in other people and let them understand this. V'yismach b'ma sheyesh alav bazeh me'Hashem hatov ha'tiferet. So there is I've mentioned Rav Arush many times in here, the Rav of Chutz Chesed, Breslov. I love his books with one exception. That there's one section of one book that has truly turned me off to his approach in life, which basically lets anybody off the hook for anything they do wrong, and I don't like that. Look, even when you sin, it was mina shamayim. I don't like that. Okay, so chutz mizeh, there's a lot of great stuff in there, and it is truly from him that I have learned from his writings, not just the gamzula tova aspect of life, but this is what was meant to be. Now, what do I mean? I use the example buses all the time because I spend a lot of time going back and forth on buses. If I miss the bus, it's not just gamzula tova. I have to accept, thank you Hashem, I wasn't meant to be on that bus. Yesterday, I had something I thought I had to be at school, and I decided I was going to blow it off. Like once every month or two, we have a hishtalmut, like an in-service day for something. I thought I didn't have to be at it, and I was tired. And I went to lie down on my bed, and literally, as my head hit the pillow, I got a message from the principal, whom we're very close. He's a great guy. Are you coming to Ishtalmut? I said, oh man. So within a matter of 2 minutes, I was out the door. I said, yeah, I'm on the way. It was about a half hour after it started already. Now, I could have said, look, I'm not feeling good, I'm tired, but I went. And that meant that every single thing I did, from the moment I walked out that door to the moment I came back into the house, every interaction I had, every statement I made, every person I talked to, every car that stopped in traffic for me to cross the street, every single one of those interactions would never have taken place had I stayed on my bed. Yeah. And that meant that every one of the interactions had to take place for whatever reason. I crossed the street and so-and-so stopped, so now maybe, I'm making this up, that person who stopped for me to cross the street is now 10 seconds later getting to a next spot where they would have hit someone, God forbid. And that's how God set the things in motion. I don't know. I will never know. Right? But it was meant for me to be at that hishtalmut yesterday. And I was reminded by God through the principal. Right? That's how I look at it. That's how I have to look at it. Kid cancels, school or teaching or whatever happens. Everything's been a shemayim. Person passes away. It's been a shemayim. Person's born. Child's born. My sister-in-law was just here for a week. And she heard me say, she misunderstood something I said. She said, wait, what happened yesterday? I said, well, 100,000 people died yesterday. She said, where, what? I said, no, every day. Every day. 100,000 people died. About 300,000, there's 300,000, and there's a net gain of 100,000 people a day. There's 2,000 babies, 200,000 babies are born, 300,000 people die, or something like that. There's huge numbers, which when you think about there's 7+ billion people on Earth, that's not a big percentage. It's small. Right, but the numbers sound big. So the net gain on Earth of approximately 100,000 babies a day. Right? So you say, well, 50,000 people died yesterday. Oh my God, it's tragic. No, it's life. That's what happens every day. People die. I was in an emergency room. No, it was in Chicago. I was in an emergency room with my daughter a number of years ago. And the doctor excused himself. He said he had a code blue he had to run out and take care of because it was a heart doctor was in the room. And he ran out. He came back about a half an hour later. And I said, how's the patient? He said, well, he passed away. I said, does that happen a lot? I said, yeah, every day someone passes away here. It's a hospital. It's a busy hospital. And it's part of life. We're all, as is true about every single thing in creation, it's temporary. It's zmani. Whether it's the mountains that we're looking at or it's us. We should all live a long, prosperous life, and Mashiach should come, and we shouldn't have to be worried about this subject. But that is part of the way Hashem created us. Had Adam and Chava not sinned in the Garden of Eden? Who knows? I don't know. At some other point, we probably would have messed up to have death come to the world because we're good at that. Right? Yeah. Someone said that's the best way to prove that the Torah is Minas Shemayim and not human written because we wouldn't have made ourselves look so bad. It's just like Sefer Bamidbar is tragic. After the beginnings, the high, we're counting our people, we're setting their jobs, what are they going to do? They're going to march in the land of Israel, they're going to conquer them, boom, 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 boom. Whether it's the spies, or it's Korach, or Balak, and everything that happens is tragic. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to just tell you briefly what he's about to tell us, because I'm not going to get into it today. He says that everything I've been talking about now, about how you're going to focus and think about the animal world, and think about your body, and think about Hashem's creation, everything else, and Gamzu Latova, has been on an individual basis. Here's how I have to look at it when this happens to me. When I encounter the animal world, or I encounter a tzara, or I encounter a problem, here's how I need to react. But he's also going to talk about this nationalistically, on a national basis. And for me personally, that's very helpful. Because I've mentioned here many times, I take personally when Israel's attacked. I don't mean physically, of course physically, but attacked in the world and in the media and everything else. It bothers me to no end because I think it's an affront to God. And it kills me. And I get sick about it. Literally physically sick about some things what I read. And when I read something like this, I say, look, this is what Hashem wants. It is. The fact that Trump became president, that Netanyahu was the prime minister, or Gandhi many years ago was the prime minister of India, that's all, it's Minas Shemayim, right? Is God a Bears fan, Chicago Bears fan? I hope so. I hope they go win the World Series, the Super Bowl. But as far as it says, Lev Melech B'yad Hashem, the heart of the king is in God's hands. Hashem runs the world, we don't. And when the day we start to realize that we're not in charge, that Hashem is, it's a very happy day. We are in charge of ourselves. I'll make one last statement I've said 100 times, and it really fits the end here. What we do in this world generally speaking, is our choice. How we react to what is done to us, how we react to what is done to it. No, I'm sorry, let me do that again. Start again. Rewind. What happens to us is Minas Shemayim. It's Minas Shemayim, whatever happens to us. How we react to it is up to us. If someone says something to us, someone does something good or bad, or we miss that bus, or whatever it might be, that is Minas Shemayim. What I do with that, how I react to it, that's my choice. That's my free choice. That's not up to Hashem. Okay? So, have a wonderful week. Bezrat Hashem, next Wednesday we are on. What's the date next week? The 2nd? Yeah, we're on. Bezrat Hashem. Yeah, I don't think any problem. So, okay?
Okay,
be well.
great. Thank you.